Hi, my name is Lila Woods, and welcome back to What's Up. And here we are at the Foxborough Police Department with Chief Baker.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's nice to see you. This is fun.
Thank you, Chief Baker, for taking the time to meet with me today.
It's my pleasure. I'm glad to have the opportunity to spend some time with you and answer your questions today.
And I'd just like to say congratulations on your upcoming retirement.
Well, thank you so much. I'm excited, but spending time like this with you is one of the reasons that makes me not want to retire. I'd rather keep doing this.
What is your plan to do with the spare time?
Well, the nice thing about spending this time with you today is that I have granddaughters that are about your age, and so the thing I am most excited about is to retire and to be able to be a grandpa 7 days a week. So I can't wait.
That's awesome. Why did you choose to be a police officer and join the force?
That is a very good question. So when I was a young person, about 12 years old, I lost my father unexpectedly. He passed away. And so I at that point in my life, I decided, okay, I can either use this as an excuse or I can use it as a motivation to do good things for the world. And so I really decided about 12 or 13 that I wanted to do something to make the world a better place. And that led me to become a policeman. And I've been doing it for almost 45 years.
That's very heartwarming. That's a great story. Have you ever saved a life?
Yeah, I've saved a lot of lives. It's funny when I hear media reports or I see reports about people saving lives. It's nice that people get recognition for that, but I will tell you that being a policeman for as long as I have, lots of policemen save lots of lives every day in a variety of ways. So here in Foxborough, we might give Narcan to somebody that's had an overdose, or we might do CPR on somebody that's had a heart attack, or we might be negotiating with somebody that's armed and having a mental health problem, and we talk them out of that mental health crisis and get them help to a hospital. And so all of those are examples of saving lives, and I've been very fortunate to do that a lot during the course of my life.
It's very interesting. So, have you ever... What was, the most inspiring case what was the most inspiring thing you've ever come up with someone who was in need or anything like that?
Well, I'm going to maybe make this a little personal because I know there's somebody in the room with us that you're related to that's pretty special. And so it's interesting because I deal with a lot of people who are unhappy about speeding cars or a problem with the neighbors or, those kinds of things. And then I come across a family like yours and somebody like your sister who's been through quite a lot. And still, she's one of the happiest, nicest people I've ever met. And so that always inspires me, to see happy people that, deal with difficulties and still are happy and outgoing and doing nice things for other people. So that's what inspires me, running into people like that.
Aw, thank you very much. I've read that you've helped write the Massachusetts laws about hate crimes. Can you please offer the kids of our community words of hope, delaying with feelings and fears of violence to come to our schools?
Absolutely. So we had an incident here recently, and we've had some during my 3 years here, involving symbols of hate, right? And so I think what's important is for people to condemn symbols of hate and condemn hateful acts that people commit against other people. And so starting a long time ago, including my time as chairman of the Governor's Commission on Hate Crime, I helped develop the hate crime laws, which allowed us to say, here's what the rules are. You can't write a swastika on a building, or you can't make fun of somebody or try and hurt somebody because of their race or their religion or where they come from. And those laws allow the police and other government institutions to reinforce that, to try and make everybody play by the rules. And so the good news about Foxborough, I think, is when that happened at your school recently, a number of your classmates and students were smart enough to see it and know that it was a symbol of hate and to bring it to someone's attention. And then the schools and the police cooperated to investigate that and find out who did it and why. And so I think there's lots of reasons for hope. In spite of the fact that those kinds of things can upset individuals and communities, And if it's an act of anti-Semitism, it might upset a Jewish person or a Jewish family. It should upset everybody. We should all care about these things. But the good news is that people do care about it. And so my hope is that people keep standing up against hate and intolerance, and that we work together to try and prevent those things. And when we can't prevent them, we work together to try and educate people about why those symbols hurt and why they're such a problem. And I work with a lot of great organizations like the Anti-Defamation League and the NAACP and a lot of advocacy organizations, and their work is critically important too. And it's important for the police to work with organizations like that to try and make this world a kinder and safer place for everybody. So it was a great question. I think what I would urge young people is to not let it demoralize you, not let you give up and say, oh, the world's a hateful place and there's no hope and I'm scared all the time. I want people to be happy and bold and motivated to make this world a better place and not be impacted by this to the point where everybody just gives up, you know? So that's my hope, is that everybody works together to make the world a kinder and better place.
I totally agree with you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I feel like that people shouldn't like give up. They shouldn't give up when like
When bad things like
well,
that
yeah,
happen.
when bad things happen.
Yeah, 'cause it's
they
easy.
shouldn't take it they can't take it personally, but they shouldn't take it so far that it's really gonna hurt you.
Exactly.
It can still hurt you, but you can still figure out a way to make sure
Well said.
it's better.
Absolutely. I should be interviewing you. You gave a better answer than I did.
What was your professional highlight of your career?
Well, I wouldn't say that it was one thing, because over 45 years working in 3 different states and 40 countries around the world, lots of amazing and interesting things have happened. So the story that I sometimes share, which captures it all, probably has to do with a young girl not much older than you that was a victim of a sexual assault a long time ago. And I helped her at the time, and she went on to become a mother, and her daughter ended up being a victim of sexual assault. And she called me almost 30 years later, and I hadn't spoken to her since then. And she said, listen, I remember how you treated me when that happened, and now you're the person that I want to turn to because the same thing has happened to my daughter. And when those things happen to you, it makes you feel like what you've done is important and worthwhile. So that's probably the kind of thing that I think is the highlight of my career. That make sense?
No,
Yeah.
that totally makes sense. What is your favorite part about being a chief or the chief police officer here at the Foxborough Police Department?
Well, there's a lot of components to that. So one of my favorite things is to lead the men and women that do this, because it's my job as the chief to kind of set the professional standard and to hold police officers to that standard, so that we really try and hire good young men and women to be policemen, and then it's my job to make sure that they do their job well. So inspiring young people to be good police officers and to make a difference in the world is part of it. And then having opportunities like this to meet your family and to do this interview today is, you know, the kind of thing that I've had the privilege to do for my whole career, which is wonderful. Today, when I went to the cable company to be interviewed, because I went to the wrong place, I was standing out in front there, and probably 15 people went by and beeped their horn and waved and said, hello, Chief. And it's very rewarding, you know, to have those kinds of relationships with people. And then I have, you know, my family, my daughters and my granddaughters and people that I love and care about. And it's, you know, it's one of the things that's motivated me to do this job, because even in a small town like this, we have opportunities to really get involved in some very difficult circumstances and make those difficult circumstances better. So all of those things go into making this job and this career what it's been. And I feel very lucky to have done it for as long as I have.
Such inspiring words. That was really great talking with you.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you very much for letting me interview you today.
Thank you for interviewing me. And you're a very impressive young lady, and I feel very privileged to have been interviewed by you. With all the people that I've been interviewed by, from famous television people and people all over the world, I think this is my best interview. My favorite.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, honey.
My name is Jalen Wakwa, and I am reporting the Chief of Police, Chief Baker. So why did you start the Cup Card program?
So the Cup Cards are a program that I started a long time ago, and the purpose of them is that when I give someone a Cup Card, they see my picture, so they'll remember my face. And on the back of the Cup Card, it tells you a little bit about me, so that you get to know me as a person a little bit. And then all of the Cup Cards have a little inspirational saying on the back of the card. So do you remember what mine says?
It said, "Family is the foundation of life."
Well, aren't you something, remembering that? So my Cup Card says, family is the foundation of a well-lived life. And so what that means is, for, this uniform and this badge, they don't really represent who I am. Who I am is more related to the people that you see on the wall around you. So my family has really been my source of strength and my source of inspiration for my whole career. Part of the reason I do this.
So this is your Cup Card?
That is my Cup Card. That's one of them. I think you might have collected a couple different versions, but that's one of them.
Yeah, I have the one with the hockey.
Playing hockey, yeah. So the reason we did this, if I see you on a playground at school, for example, and I come up and I say, "Hi, Jaden, it's nice to meet you," and I give you that, then you're going to say, "Oh, you're a whitewater guide. You take people down the big rivers in Maine. You're going to learn something about me." And so it helps us develop relationships with people, which is important, right? To have relationships and communication and develop a bond between us as people, right? So that's what the Cop Card program's about.
Not for any offense, but are you a good baker?
A good baker? Like in baking cakes and stuff? Do you think that's where my name came from? It could have, It could have. And I'm afraid I am better at eating the cakes than baking the cakes. And you can probably tell how good I am at eating the cakes, which I need to be better about. But I think someone in probably 5th or 6th grade probably called me Billy Baker the Cake Maker. I think that could have happened. But that's good. It relates back to something that my interviewer was asking me about previously, right? If someone called me Billy Baker the Cake Maker, I could cry and fall down on the playground and say, "Oh, my life's ruined. Someone called me Billy Baker the Cake Maker." But words are words, right? Sticks and stones can break your bones. You know that old saying? I don't remember it all either. But
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me.
so sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. And I think that's an important, lesson. Doesn't make the mean speech right on the part of the person that's doing it, but I can control how it affects me and how I handle it. So I can cook cakes and I can eat cakes, just for the record.
Thank you for your interview.
My pleasure. Thank you for interviewing me. It was great to see you again.
Great to see you too.
Chief is showing this police car, so let's take a look. See over here, there are these lights that not a normal car would have, so that's how you can tell if it's a police car. But let's take a look in the back. And here is the inside of Chief Baker's car. And then, can we take a quick look at the back of the car? So here's all of his safety equipment for
Fire extinguishers and medical kits and life preservers in case I need to go in the lake to save somebody.
And I asked a really good question.
You sure did.
Should I repeat it?
I think you should.
So, I didn't know why there was a fire extinguisher, so I asked, why is there a fire extinguisher when you have fire trucks and the fire department? But
And what was the answer? Do you remember?
the answer was that the police usually get there first, and they try to put out the fire while they're still trying to, while the fire department is still trying to, come.
Right. Because you know why the difference is? So the policemen tonight, there's 4, we divide the town up into 4 parts, and there's a policeman in each of those 4 parts of town. And so we're already on the street when something happens and we get a call, but the fire departments stay here until they get called. That's why we usually get there first, because we're always out there.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's why we need
And
the
why
fire.
is there an animal control truck here?
Well, because the animal control officer helps us when you know what's happening a lot lately is big turtles, this big, are coming out into the street and getting hit by cars. And so the animal control officer helps with loose dogs and turtles that get hit and that kind of thing. And she takes good care of animals and people who own animals because they're sad when the animals get hurt.
Hey, Chief.
Hey.
Can you explain all of this
All the stuff?
on you?
I got stuff. All right, so where do I begin? So this is my radio.
Okay.
So if I come upon something on the street and I need help, I just call on the radio, and then someone downstairs sends the policeman to help me.
Okay.
And then I have an extra set of bullets, and I have handcuffs in case you're really bad, which I hope you won't be today. And then I have my gun, and on my shirt I have my badge, and sometimes people wonder about these.
Yeah, what are those?
So the 4 stars mean that you're the boss. That means you're the chief. And then if you're a captain, you have 2 bars. And if you're a lieutenant, you have 1 bar. And if you're a sergeant, you have 3 stripes. And if you're a regular officer, you don't have any of those things on your uniform. And then this is my name, William Baker the Cake Maker. You might remember me.
Yeah.
And then underneath there, it says serving since 1974, which is when I started to be a policeman.
So that badge is... What year
Old.
is it?
But 45 years.
Oh, that's 45 years old, and not even like looks like there's even a scratch on
It looks like it's brand new, just like me. So that's it. That's all the stuff we have.
That's awesome. Thank you for watching What's Up. See you next time.